Thank you, Josh. In depth this morning, a Yakima City employee was charged with a felony and accused of payroll fraud in the amount of tens of thousands of dollars. She was only placed on paid administrative leave after an investigation by Apple Valley News Now earlier this year. She was then quietly fired over the summer, but after months of public records requests, our very own Emily Goodell learned that the employee never faced any other discipline during her time with the city.
I submitted multiple public records requests to the City of Yakima to see what, if any, investigations Jeanette Mora faced in response to the payroll fraud accusations and the off-duty assault of a fellow city employee last year. In total, records show Mora out on paid administrative leave 45% of the time in the year and a half between January 2023 and her termination this summer, costing the city over $56,000. The only records released about a formal investigation requested by the city into Mora's actions happening months after our reporting, and records officials noting there's no record of any sustained discipline for Mora. Reports of Mora's misconduct started in March 2023 when the police department found Mora had been logging full hours but only showing up 50% of the time for at least 3 months. Concerns then Yakima Police Chief Matt Murray brought up to Mora on March 28, 2023.
The more I looked, the more I found.
Okay.
And after having looked at several months of data, including card readers, cameras, it's pretty apparent that you're not here much.
Mora not fired but out of a job after the police department eliminated her position during budget cuts.
So it's clear to me that your position's not needed because you're just not here.
Mora reached an agreement with the city to get a payout for her unused vacation time for that position. But weeks later, she's somehow hired on again, this time as a public records officer for police and fire records. Exactly how that happened, we don't know, but the former police chief also claiming in a memo last fall, the city's human resources director, Connie Mendoza, had a close relationship with Mora. Mora's in her new position for less than a month before court documents say she turned up at a fellow city employee's house, intoxicated with a gun and accusing the other woman of withholding information from her. According to the documents, Mora assaulted the employee during a struggle over the gun, and Mora was later arrested and taken to the hospital for mental health treatment. Payroll records show the city placed Mora on paid administrative leave again for several weeks. The city hasn't provided any records of them further investigating the matter immediately after it happened last year. In the meantime, Mora back at work in late September while Kennewick police continue the criminal investigation. It wasn't until January 19th of this year that Mora charged with burglary, assault with sexual motivation, and reckless endangerment in the case involving the other city employee. But a week later, she still hadn't been placed on administrative leave, prompting Yakima Police Patrolmen's Association Vice President Scott Grant to speak up on behalf of the union.
We were just hoping that once she was formally charged with the crimes that they would have the evidence they needed, that they would actually take the steps to place her on admin leave and eventually remove her. But when it was apparently clear that they had knowledge that she was being charged and still didn't do anything, that's why we're talking now.
It wasn't until a week after we aired our investigation that the city placed Mora on administrative leave again on February 2nd. It appears it was only on March 7th of this year, 6 months after the reported assault, that the city hired an outside investigator to look into it. The investigator, attorney Amanda Butler, in her final report issued on June 27th, says Mora declined to speak with her. But after reviewing evidence and interviewing the victim, she found it more probable than not that Mora's conduct ran afoul of provisions in the city's municipal code. Mora's contract terminated a month later on July 18th after nearly 19 weeks of paid admin leave.
I think my biggest question is, why is she so untouchable? Why is she being protected so much? I don't understand why she's being treated so differently than any other city employee is.
I reached out to city spokesperson Randy Beeler, who told me that the attorney with the most information about this case is currently on vacation, but that the city would be able to speak with me about this case after the attorney returns next week. Reporting from the Yakima newsroom, Emily Goodell, Apple Valley News Now.